Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be just looking at a real quick preview for what's coming up on patch 10.16. So as always, if you enjoy the content, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out a ton on the channel. Check out the rest of the offerings as well. We stream every night starting around 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, usually go till about 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's only on YouTube, so come by. Very friendly, chill community. We'd love to have you. I'm always adding in more guides, coaching sessions, tier lists, patch notes, all sorts of stuff, so be sure to check all that on the channel. Also do cover Total War Warhammer if you're interested in that, and I've recently started covering some other single player games that people are sponsoring. So I'm going through a Witcher 3 campaign right now in 1080p 60 FPS, which is kind of my commentary and thoughts as we go through the game. So if you want that, we've got that available as well, so check all that out. Okay. And we might be adding more stuff like that too. If you're interested in a certain kind of game and you want to see my commentary on it or run through, just let me know. My baseline right now that I'm working with is about $5 an hour, plus the cost of the game if I don't have the game. But I can help you crowdfund that if you're interested. So if you really want to, get me to do some other single player game, but if you wanted, 20 hours and it was a $40 game, that'd be $140. But I can ask a bunch of people, and if we get 14 people to all chip in $10, then we can make it happen that way too. But just email me, thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com, if you're interested in anything like that, and we can talk about it. Okay. So patch 10.16, Nimbus Cloak getting a nerf, 15% down to 10% base. I think that's good. It's pretty ubiquitous. Almost everybody takes Nimbus Cloak, and it just feels like it just gets people out of too many situations. When you have junglers taking it and ADCs and just about everybody's taking Nimbus Cloak, I think it's just a little bit too strong. It just gives people just too much movement speed. So I think that's good, especially when a lot of these bruisers are kind of popular in the meta, like the Volibears, and then top lane, you've got like Darius, Set, all that kind of stuff. It's just a little bit too much movement speed, I think, so that's good. What'd you say, Rory? Oh, are you hiding in your house? Okay, good. Good job, Rory. Okay, so anyways, yeah, good nerf. I like it. Volibear, movement speed is going down again, so that's going to take him down to 10% base to 26%. Now, it's going to go down 5% at the early levels, and then it's going to go down up to 9% at later levels. I think this is probably good. Volibear is really strong in pro. I think on the last patch he had a 90% presence, so maybe even more than that. So he is pretty much picked all the time. That's because he can go top or jungle, although he does get played a lot in the jungle in pro, so he is a little bit too strong. This is probably a good way to nerf him, and in conjunction with Nimbus Cloak, this should slow him down significantly and give people a bit more time to kite him. You got to remember that whenever you CC him when he's running with his Q, it automatically resets the Q. So if you stun him or something, you throw a Syndra Orb at him when he's running at you, then he gets to start his Q all over again and keep running at you. So you can't really stop him from doing it. You can just delay it. So he still gets to keep that movement speed up a lot. And he levels that up second because it's also an auto attack reset and provides quite a lot of damage, especially when you get a Sheen item. So he's still going to be able to close the gap pretty well, but the Nimbus Cloak nerf and the Q nerf in the early game will make his ganks a bit tougher. You still have Chilling Smite, you still have the Q resets, so I think he'll be alright. Hey, Ray. Oh, Sky's going to bed? So anyway, I think that's good. That should bring down his win rate 1 or 2%, maybe his presence in pro 10 to 15%. So I think he'll still be good, but he won't just be everywhere. Must pick, must ban. Okay, Nocturne Mid. I really don't get it. I mean, I don't know what his win rate is in pro right now. I almost never see this in solo queue. It's okay. I know that Scott's always talking about how he really likes this. The passive cooldown is going to 14 seconds. That's actually a pretty massive nerf. It's 40% longer. The passive is when he does the little AoE sweep. So that's basically hits his wave clear and his sustain, because he does heal quite a bit for the number of targets that he hits. And then his basic attacks against monsters and champs now refund 3% instead of 2%. Okay, so in the jungle, he's probably going to get off maybe 4 auto attacks in 10 seconds, what the cooldown is now. So that would take that would basically negate this. So I think that's about the same then for jungle, but it will nerf it for mid lane because it doesn't work against minions, only monsters and champions. So I think that's a pretty good way to do it if they do think that Nocturne Mid is a threat. I personally don't think it's that big of a deal, but whatever. It's also not played that much. I mean, maybe it is. I haven't been watching every pro region, every game. Maybe it's being played a ton in China right now or something. I just haven't kept up with it. But that's fine. Okay, Karthus. AP ratio going from 35% down to 30%. I think this is a good thing. Karthus does have a really high win rate again in the jungle right now, especially at higher elos, and it's something that a lot of higher elo players do not like. They don't like to play against it. They don't like to play it. It's just kind of inevitable damage and just, you know, power farm jungle press R type of thing. Now, there is skill to Karthus. You do have to hit a lot of your Qs. It is nice to have sort of a scaling jungle threat in the meta that's available, especially in AP one, to balance out all the AD champs out there so you can have more creative comps. Because if you can run AP in the jungle, that means that you can run AD in the mid, so you could be more likely to be able to pull off something like a Zed or a Talon in the mid lane. So I think it leads to some nice diversity overall when you have stuff like Karthus or Evelyn or other like heavy hitter AP champs in the meta. It's fine. You got to remember that he gets double damage whenever he hits an isolated target with his Q. So this is really like going from a 0.7 to a 0.6. And he spams that spell a lot. So this is pretty significant. Even though it doesn't look like a lot, it's pretty significant. So will this put him in the gutter? Probably not, but he'll probably drop a couple of percentage points. I think I mentioned this earlier on, but remember that these are just predicted changes for next patch. It still could vary over the next couple of days. They could still change some stuff, and some of this stuff may not show up in the final draft. So make sure that you come back and watch the official patch notes next Tuesday. But, yeah, right now that's looking like a good nerf. Kha'zix is a bit strong right now. I am seeing him a lot. He is very frustrating to go against. I think that dialing it back to, yeah, because it used to be a 1.0 AD ratio, bonus damage on the Q, which is basically like a double auto attack. Because you got to remember, just the AD includes his base AD that he starts the game with, right? The 60 or 65 or whatever he starts with. Versus bonus AD does not include your base stats. It only includes your items and your runes AD that you get. So 10% total AD is quite a lot in the early game. So that's going to hurt his clear against isolated targets. Blue, Gromp, Red, Dragon, Scuttle. Obviously ganks if they're isolated. So that's a pretty good nerf. He was coming in a little bit strong. But you do want some flanking assassins to help deal with the enchanters that are kind of taking over right now and the AD carries. So I personally don't like assassins because I play a lot of enchanters. And usually when assassins are good, bot lane is not very good. So, you know, my own personal response to this is, yes, good, nerf him into the ground. But it is important to have assassins that are viable in the meta. So I think this is a pretty reasonable balance and just kind of see where it goes. He still is going to be up an extra 10% total AD from a couple of patches ago. And I think he was already okay if you were really good on him before they buffed him, so that's fine. Alright, Set's W damage is down at later ranks, and his W, I believe, is his shield, his haymaker, and then his E is his where he grabs people together. So that's down 40 at later levels, but you don't max that out until last. I believe you max Q. It might be W first and then Q, or Q then W. I'm not sure, but I'm almost positive it's E that you max last. So this one's not really going to matter until level 13 plus. And then this, if you max W first, that's probably fine. I mean, the thing is, like, the base damage is not what really does most of the damage. It's when he stores up his grit all the way, and this isn't affecting that. Then that's when he hits like a truck. So yeah, if he's hitting for like 500 and you're knocking off 20 damage, it's probably not that big of a deal, especially because, you know, the bonus damage is true damage. I don't remember if this converts over to true damage or not, but either way, that's good. Just a slight tap on him. I don't personally think he's that strong right now, but he is, I mean, like, overly strong. He's good. He's solid. But I don't think he's OP right now, and so maybe they're just giving him a little tap for pro. I mean, they say most of the stuff is for pro, so that's probably okay. Karma, this is a pretty significant nerf to Karma. They're going 65 mana even at early levels, and then the Q cooldown is 2 extra seconds at all ranks. That's pretty massive. That's going to hurt her ability to harass early on. Right now you can go Karma plus Ezreal or Karma plus Caitlyn or Ashe or some other poke champ bot. So is she really that oppressive right now in pro? I feel like she's not. Let me just pull this up, just so I can kind of get a sense here. Because some of these are kind of head scratchers to me. But I haven't watched every pro game, you know, over the last little bit. I mean, she's got a 35% win rate right now as of patch 10.14, and you're going to hit her with, like, 2 really hard nerfs. I mean, an extra 2-second cooldown is a very, very big deal on a lot of these champs, like, in the early game. I mean, I can completely, like, you know, ruin champs in the early game, so... I mean, they just nerfed, like, Nami's W by, like, 1 second or something a long time ago, and her win rate dropped by, like, 3%. This was probably years ago. But yeah, especially on those early harassment champions, you know, they need to put out that harass, and that's really what Karma is early on. And then Set has a 43% win rate, so I don't really know where they're getting these numbers, these internal numbers. And he only has a 66% presence, and Karma only has a 61% presence, so they're not even that high. Whereas is like Volibear's 95% presence, Twisted Fate's high presence, but I think that was before the nerf, not 100%. And then Aphelios is still high win rate, high presence, so I really don't get... what's going on here? Let me just pull that down a little bit. Here we go. So I think that'll help reference to try to see if we can wrap our head around some of these nerfs here. Now let me just, sorry, I forgot. Let me just change this scene here real quick too. I have my face down in the bottom. Whereas I think for these kind of things, putting it up here makes a little more sense. I was talking to my daughter, I think, and I just wasn't paying attention. Okay. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I don't understand the set is kind of whatever, although his win rate's low, but the Karma is just really like, I don't know. She was only picked 23 times out of, well, like over 100 games or something. Yeah, she was banned some. I mean, the thing about Karma, she can be flexed to mid and to support and to top lane potentially, so she's a multi-lane flex. So maybe they think that's just too strong right now. Sadie is up high, isn't she? So yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I think Karma is good to have in the meta. I think she's interesting. She's a high-pressure early-game enchanter that can punish a lot of these other melee supports out there. But she's not too oppressive. Like, she doesn't have any steroids for the AD carry. You know, her scaling's not too off the chart. She's good. She's good, for sure. But, I don't know. That feels a little harsh to me. So, I don't like that. But she's definitely going to fall in win rate after that. She's not even that high in solo queue. I mean, if we look at Lolalytics, I think she's one of the lowest win rate enchanters right now. Yeah, because if we look at win rates, I mean, she's probably like 50% or something, right? Yeah, she's dead even 50%. I mean, if we're thinking like solo queue, you know, Janna, Lulu, Soraka, Sona, all of these are higher. Now, they don't get played as much in pro, but then Karma has a 43% win rate in pro, so I'm really not sure what the justification is there. Hey, Rory, be careful, okay? If you fall, it's going to hurt. Okay, yeah, you can stand there, but be careful, okay? All right, Ashe, Q, so they're knocking down her scaling, so in early levels it's not going to matter. I believe most people max W on Ashe as well. Now, she does have a pretty high win rate, or at least play rate.
I know, can I do it? I can't do it.
You can't do it?
I know, can I do it down there? Right here, too.
Okay, there we go. Let me make sure we get that win rate in there. Okay, so it might be a little asymmetrical with the camera, but whatever. Yeah, your feet are too high to jump down there, so please don't do that. Can you just stand on the little box there? Rory, there's your Poe. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that looks fun. You see that cartoon? Wow. But yeah, she doesn't even have that high of a win rate either, but she is played a lot. She does have like a 70% presence. Aphelios is still way more impressive. Yeah, those are books over there, aren't there?
Well, yeah, books right there. I can stand the pie.
Oh, let's not stand that up high. No, let's not go up high on that box. Can you just watch the Poe for a little bit? They're both just always coming at me. Here's the cat right here coming at me, and then Rory's over there.
I can stand on the stool.
You can stand on the stool? Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this isn't like... it is going to hurt her scaling significantly. I mean, she's losing 20% attack speed on her Q, which is really important. Especially when you're on Blade the Ruined King, you know, you want a lot of attack speed so that you get more procs of Blade the Ruined King. You're not going for just big single-hit crits. It's sustained damage over time. So I think she'll probably still be pretty good. She has one of the higher win rates in solo queue right now. Yeah, 50, 52, 53%. I'll tell you, Caitlyn's going to like that, because Ashe is considered a hard counter to Caitlyn, and more people are playing Caitlyn after the most recent buffs. So,
I got the stool.
Okay, you got the stool. Good. So anyways, that's fine. I think that's probably not great, but at least it makes a little more sense, because she does have a high win rate in solo queue, but... Anyways, okay, Bard, his heal is down by 15. That's a lot. Then the base HP is down 15 as well. I don't understand. I mean, I think Bard is a cool champ. He's, like, very risky. You know, high risk, high reward. He's fun to watch in pro. He's fun to play. A lot of people enjoy him. What is it, Rory? Is Mommy in there?
No, Mommy's going to get the sweet.
Are you there, dear? I think she might be upstairs. Right, I swear to every time I start these videos, she just all of a sudden decides she wants to raise hell when she was just sitting there all calm watching cartoons. Anyways, yeah, so I don't like it. I mean, he does have a high win rate here in pro. He does have a high win rate in pros. I mean, I guess 80% presence, 63% win rate. Okay, fine. Give him a nerf. So he still does the damage. It's just he can be punished more in lane. Fine. Nautilus' shield is going down by 15. That is very significant because with a lot of builds, I believe you don't max this until last. Although it doesn't matter how many points you put in it because it's 15 at all ranks. I think most people max Q and then E, but maybe shield, maybe E then W. I don't know. There are a bunch of different builds you can do to Nautilus, but I guess, I mean, his win rate is not that great. It's 52% in pro, and then in solo queue, it's like 49 or 50%. He still has a lot of CC. It's very reliable. Hey, Rory, let's not, no. Let's not do that. That's unstable. If you, no, we can't do that, Rory, okay?
Zoe, that's going to be
No, it's got to be on the floor, okay? Here, come here. Sorry, guys. Hang on just a second. Here you go. Rory, can you just watch the cartoons for a little bit? You want to watch them up here? There you go. Anyways, so yeah, so I don't like it, but he's definitely going to be a lot weaker to all-ins. So if he gets grabbed by Leona or just like hard engaged on early, he'll be a lot squishier than he was. But he is one of the champs that has like the most guaranteed like hard CC and high influence team fights in the games. His ult's just like point click. You just knock at least one person up guaranteed unless they have Hourglass. And you can hit a whole bunch of other people on the way. He does really good AoE sustained damage with his E in team fights. So he is really strong in theory, but he has been nerfed so much. So I don't know. And that's going to open the door for sure for something like Braum to just kind of take over. I don't know if Braum's being played a lot right now, but I don't know how you get down there, Rory. I guess he's not winning a lot right now, but and Tom's getting smashed as well. So I'm not sure which tanky support. They love having tanky supports in pro. So I'm not sure who's going to fill in that gap. Maybe more, maybe just more Thresh. Thresh does have a really high win rate. That'll actually be really nice for Thresh because Thresh did get nerfed last patch, but Nautilus is considered one of the harder counters to Thresh just because you have a lot more CC, and historically you've been a little bit tankier than he is, but now it's going to be in question, so. Anyways, okay. So let's go on to the buff. So nerfs, okay, I think most of those are reasonable. Ziggs, his passive AP ratio is going to 50% at all ranks. Okay, so that means that his auto attacks are going to hit a lot harder. And then his passive damage to towers is 250%. So that's a double scalar there. I mean, it's 50% passive, and then of that passive, you're getting an additional 250. So he's going to crank towers a lot faster. I think that's a really interesting change, particularly for like bot lane Ziggs. I think bot lane Ziggs is borderline viable in certain compositions. just because you do have a bit more protection depending on who you decide to go with, like as your support. And he can just push really hard. He pokes well. And he can just take those towers out. I mean, it's possible you could see support Ziggs off of something like this, but it's probably not that great. It's probably not that great, to be honest, but that would be cool. Mid lane, I feel like he's still a little too vulnerable. Like, he has some bad matchups in other mid laners, but maybe we'll see him somewhere. I mean, Ziggs is kind of a toxic champ when he's really good in the meta just because he has so much wave clear that it's just almost impossible to push against him, and that's why Riot traditionally doesn't buff like Ziggs and Anivia too much, just because they have such an overwhelming amount of siege defense that it just extends games by a lot when they're both in the meta. So, Rory, don't stack those, please. Put one next to the other one, okay? Don't stack stools. Yeah, because it can fall, and if you fall off of that, it's going to really hurt, okay?
I want this.
Hey, Rory, not up there. You can put it on the ground. You want to put it on the ground?
I want to put on this chair.
No, put it on the ground, Rory, if you're going to stand on it, okay?
That better.
I guess.
That better.
Maybe I should just let her fall down. It's just, she'll figure it out.
That better.
I don't want to be going to the hospital with a cracked skull, though. But anyways, okay, so Akali, this is actually a really, really big nerf for Akali, or a really, really big buff for Akali, because the fact that it's magic damage means that Spell Pin, her E, is going to apply Spell Pin now when it didn't before. So that basically means it's going to do about, 18% more damage when you have Sork Boots, and if you end up getting Oblivion Orb, it's even more. So that's going to add a lot to her all-in damage rotation, so that's going to be a lot more than people think it is. So yes, if you itemize into full magic resist, then it's going to be weaker, but the fact that you already have at least some Spell Pin in your build is really nice. So, and people are going to be, I don't know. I mean, the reason they do that split type of damage is to try to counter if someone's getting all resistances. So, like, if someone's stacking all magic, they want you to have some answers to that. But it just doesn't really work well with Pin. So that's a good, like, having split damage is good for a primarily AD type of champion like Yone. And we'll talk about Yone here in a second. That's good for Yone if they're wanting you to get around armor, because it's harder to access armor penetration as AD carry or as an AD champion, because you don't have boots that give it to you, and you don't have an early item. I guess you can get like Serrated Dirk, but it builds into like a very specific type of build, which is lethality. You can jump. Don't jump on that. Just stand on it, okay? You can step down on it. Okay, good job. So anyways, that's a really big deal. So I like getting rid of the mixed damage on magic users, and just opting for all magic if you're trying to give them more power. So anyways, big buff to Akali. Will she take over the game? Probably not, but I think that will make her a bit more viable after this. So maybe they want to see her in pro a bit more. I don't know. Was she even picked at all? Not very often. 3 times. So, okay. Nico, initial Q damage is up by 10, and the bloom damage is up by, what, 15 per pop? Or 10 per pop? I think, I don't remember how many times it pops. But yeah, I mean, that's good. That's going to help her wave clear out a ton, and if she does, get somebody with that damage, it's going to be pretty good. So, that's going to help out mid lane Nico. It's going to help out support lane Nico. Going to help out support lane Nico.
Look, I'm standing.
You're standing. Okay, Rory, be careful. That's going to collapse. You're going to break your house, okay? You need to stand on the stool over there. Alright, Veigar getting 2 extra magic resist. Alright, not going to matter. Yasuo getting 2 extra magic resist, and his R bonus AD ratio is going to 175. A little dangerous to buff Yasuo because, I mean, they obviously want to buff him up, so they want to sell the skins. I don't say that all the time, but with Yone coming in, a lot of people are going to want Yasuo. Also, you're going to have people trying out the Yasuo Yone bot lane stuff. But in solo queue right now, he's like 49%. I guess. I think Yasuo, in general, is a pretty good, fair, clean champion. I know some people disagree with me about that. I know the win wall is really annoying. But, I think he has a huge skill cap, so I'm fine with that. If that gets him played more in pro, especially, I would like to see that. I think that'd be fun. Okay, Fiora, Q cooldown is lower, and the Q refund on hitting an enemy goes to 50%. So it's 12 seconds. If you hit an enemy, then it would, or it's 13 seconds. You hit an enemy, it'd go to 6.5. Versus right here, it would have gone to like 9. So you're saving like 1 or 2 seconds on those harassments with the Q. When you get CDR, that does add up quite a lot. Okay, fine. I think Fiora is an interesting champion. Very clear identity, split pusher, like a lot weaker in team fights. I think that's good. Okay, Jax, ECD is going. That's the last thing that you max. So getting 2 free seconds on that's kind of a big deal. You're probably still only going to cast it once per fight. Once you get 40% CDR, maybe you get a bit more, but I don't really like Jax that much. I think he's just an OP champion, poorly designed. He just gets a lot of tankiness and a lot of damage for free. Yes, he is weaker in the early game, but I just don't think there's that much like going on with that champ. Sorry if you love Jax out there, but I'm okay with if he's not in the meta. It just feels that he's just really antiquated, and he's just he's like one of the biggest stat stick type of champions where he just beats you over the head with his wallet, right? He just gets so much, if he gets a lot of money, he just runs at you, and there's just not a lot you can do about it. So anyways, I guess he is a counter to some of the tanks and some of the tankier bruisers out there if he gets enough items, so maybe he's important in the meta to check some of these other champs, but I don't know. I'd much rather see something like a Fiora or a Yasuo or an Akali being played in pro or even in solo queue than Jax. Okay, Evelyn. Okay, so they want her to lane flex. They want her to be played in lanes. The Q cooldown is going to 4 seconds. The Q refunds 50% of its cooldown when it hits a monster. Wow, that's pretty big. So now you're going to spam this on champions too, like permanently. And that's just going to let her just permanently push waves, basically. So they want her to be played middle and just like perma push and roam. It just seems like really toxic. She's always going to be invisible. Yeah, it's 40. It's only 40 mana at early levels. I don't know. I don't like that idea, but maybe, I mean, maybe you see it mid where she just like perma pushes and she just gets free healing when she gets to level 6 as well. It's just so toxic for solo queue. I don't know if you're going to see it in pro, but I just, Evelyn's another one where I just don't like the design. Just permanent invisibility. It's just so obnoxious. I just don't think there's enough tools to deal with that right now in the game, because they've already limited warding quite a bit. I mean, yeah, you have control wards that can help you out a little bit, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. But okay, whatever. Guess it'd be interesting. Okay, Hecarim's movement speed's 25 to 75% going to 25 to 100% over 3 seconds. Okay, sure. What? So it scales based on rank or level. I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to magically bring him back into the game because he's going to max Q first and then maybe E. So that's going to be later in the game. So I guess that's okay. I don't think that's going to be a huge deal though. Okay, so they are buffing Skarner again after last patch. His Q mana cost is going down to 10. His Q AD ratio is going up to 0.2. I just don't think this solves his problem. I think there are just a lot better champs that are just going to run at you. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is enough to put him over the top. It could give him super fast wave clear. And then, you know, maybe his ganks are okay if you take, like, Predator or something. I don't know. Maybe there's a way you could make him work. His W does give quite a bit. If you do like Swiftness Predator, maybe you can get in there. I'm not really sure. where he would fit into the meta. I mean, he does have like a a lockdown R, which can be really handy to pull people out of place. I'll have to review it. I'll have to think about that a little bit more, but that's good. Now, this Tristana one is absolutely massive, I think. This is probably the biggest one on the patch, or maybe one of the biggest buffs, because it gives you 1% extra damage per 2% crit. So when you have like 50% crit, Infinity Edge plus like Phantom Dancer, or Hurricane, or whatever she wants to get, it's doing 25% more damage. That ability already does a ton. It already does like 400 damage. So I'm not, and that also can apply to towers. So I just don't know why she needs that. I mean, what is her win rate? It feels like her problem is that, like, early game, she can't control the wave because she has to, like, her explosive shot is just permanently going to push. It makes it hard for you to last hit under tower if somehow you get pushed in, and it's easy for them to freeze you out. That's why you almost never see her in pro, because she has no wave control. Like, the biggest buff they could do to her is, I don't know how they would do it, but make her E toggleable. Or hell, just take off the explosive shot. Just remove it. Just take it out of the game. Just remove explosive, like the passive where it blows up minions, because that makes it, like I said, hard to last hit. Makes it where you have to push. Just take it out. Just make the bomb maybe a lower cooldown or something. And then if she wants to wave clear, she can just use the bomb on the wave and wave clear that way. So yeah, I mean, I guess. The thing is, I think this is going to make her good case scenario just, like, too strong. Like, she's going to snowball so hard off of this. Even just Infinity Edge, like, dealing an extra 13% damage on this bomb is probably too much. So it's like, yeah, in the bad case scenarios where she's getting hard camped and she can't control the wave, or somehow she's getting pushed in and she can't last hit under tower, that's not going to help her there. But it's just, like, doubling down on her good case scenarios, where she's already really good. Like, if you get ahead, it's almost impossible to get away from her because she can get multiple jumps. She jumps on you, throws that bomb in, and then if she triggers the bomb on you, she gets a reset on the jump and she can jump again. And she scales really well. I mean, she gets like up to 110% extra attack speed. She's got an escape. She has a really low cooldown, like huge damage, like, you know, 300 damage at level 6. Massive on an ability. So she's got that going on. And, like, this bomb thing, maximum physical damage. I mean, it's already, like, you know, I don't know if you max the bomb first on her or Q first. I think you probably max the bomb. Maybe you max rocket jump. I'm not really sure. I haven't played her in a long time. But either way, I think you typically will get a good chunk of damage on the explosive charge. So, I don't know. I don't know. Fine, sure. I mean, she doesn't have a super high win rate right now, but... Okay. Lucian, Q damage is up 10 at all ranks. Okay. And then you get 4 extra shots. That's like 20% extra damage on the ult, if you hit all the shots. That seems pretty good to me. I feel like Lucian can be a very strong champ. I mean, I don't know what his win rate is. It's probably just because ADCs in general, like, aren't super strong right now. Yeah, he's got 48% win rate, but it feels like he could be very impressive and very strong in the early game. So, I don't know. 10 extra damage on that Q is... that's a pretty good buff. So, okay. Misfortune's base AD goes up 2. Okay, probably not going to matter. Morgana's Q cooldown goes down by 1 second. Okay. Don't think that's going to matter too much. It's not like you're spamming that most of the time anyways. And Recon movement speed. Now, this is another one that's going to be massive. That's a lot of extra movement speed. That's 50% from what it was, extra movement speed, going from 50 to 75. Because you got to remember, when he tags somebody, it doubles. So he's going from a total of 100% movement speed when he touches somebody to 150% movement speed. And I think Recon is not, like, super far out of the meta right now. I mean, I don't quite think he's tier 1 for most people, but he's not, like, that far out of the meta. You know, he's 50%. He's a hard champ to play. Not picked a lot, but high win rate in pro on the last patch. So, I mean, maybe this is okay with Xayah being in a relatively weak state. They think that, you know, they can just throw Recon in here, and that's fine. So, I like it. I mean, as a Recon player, I think it's great. So we'll see. I don't think it'll be enough to get everyone on the Recon hype train, probably, but, yeah, I think it's going to be a good buff. And then Yone is just totally OP right now. I mean, I will tell you, I would recommend, if you're on a budget with Blue Essence, I would recommend waiting the week or whatever it is for him to go from 7,200 gold down to down to 6,300 if you're on a budget, because you are not going to get to play this guy in the first patch. There's no way. Unless you just create custom games with your friends and you just take turns playing it, you're not getting him, because first of all, he's going to be banned all the time because he's a new champion. Also, he's super strong right now. I think these numbers are just kind of ridiculous on him. It's just way too much damage. Way too much damage. And utility, because a lot of his stuff is split between physical damage and magic damage. And I said that wasn't good for mages to have that because you have spell pin boots. So you want everything to be magic so you get the benefit of the spell pin boots. Well, you're getting Berserker Grease with him anyways. So you want that double damage. And I believe, doesn't he have yeah, and so he has true damage in his kit too. So he's got mixed damage, he has physical and magic damage split on a lot of his attacks. And then he also, on his W and his Q, and then all the damage on his E, it's mixed, and then it goes to true damage. So it's just going to be so hard to itemize against him. He has just a really strong power spike. He doesn't use any mana. He wave clears really quickly. He has really high DPS. Now, he doesn't have the wind wall, but he still has like really good outplay potential. So I just think he's going to be way too strong. So anyways, yeah, he's going to be banned all the time, and he's going to be picked all the time because he can likely be played comfortably mid and top, probably jungle, and I think people may even try him AD. So now I don't think he's necessarily going to be good AD. Maybe he will. I don't know. But he can be played in at least 4 different roles comfortably. People probably try him support. So he's going to be getting played in every role. He's cool. People like him. He's related to another champion that's one of the most popular champs in the game. He's East Asian themed. He's got cool skins. I mean, this is just like the printing machine, you know, for Riot. And he's themed around this event. So he's going to have 100% presence, I think. Like every game, he's going to be picked or banned. So unless you are the first pick, and there might be some people, if you're playing in normals or something like that to try him out, there will probably be a decent amount of people where if they don't get him, they just dodge. Like, they'll just log in, and they don't play very often. They play, like, you know, once every couple weeks. They're like, oh, cool, new champion, I'm going to try him out. And they go into normal, they don't get it. They're like, okay, I'm dodging. I'm going to go back to playing some Fortnite. You know, that type of thing. So yeah, I would be careful if you're going to drop the 7,200 on, or the 7,800 on him, if you don't have, like, unlimited blue essence, if you're expecting to play him the first week, because it's probably not going to happen. Also, he's going to be nerfed. I'll guarantee you. They probably won't hotfix him. They'll just let it ride for a week. But, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but y'all who have watched me on the channel for a long time know I don't like to overhype stuff. I'm usually come in a bit more conservative than other people in terms of, like, is something going to be good or not? You know, often I'm kind of anti-hype. I'm like, it's overhyped. This is not overhyped. I think he's going to be extremely good. I think he's going to come in at 50% plus win rate off of a really hard champion to play. It's going to be super popular. Now, we'll see. I mean, maybe people are just going to be way too aggressive on him and just die a lot. That is possible. So maybe he does have like a 40 to 45% win rate, but I think he's going to be super strong coming out. He just has the hallmarks of everything that's OP. You know, good wave clear, great scaling, very difficult to build resistances against him. True damage, max health damage, physical damage, magic damage, CC. You know, basically a dash off of this, a free dash off of Sealed Fate. You get a free dash off of the Q as well, so you have 3 different, like, mobility moves you can use. Lots of outplay potential. Sustain, where you can sustain off the minion wave in lane, or at least get a shield off the minion wave in lane. You know, really good synergy with Conquer. He's just everything that is strong. Now, he does have a really high skill cap, so people can mess him up, but I think he's going to be super good. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day.